But if that's true, what's that thing behind you?
Oh no! Hello and welcome to the Quackcast, the Drunkduck Quackcast. I am Ozone Ocean, with me is Tansen Baines. Hello.
No.
Hello. I was waiting for Towns to say it first. You said her name first. So try to keep this orderly. Don't want people getting confused.
How honourable of you, Baines. Well, you're certainly not a cad or a player. So, on this Quackcast, the subject we're talking about cads and players, and as Baines says, fun boys, Lotharios.
Well, what I thought they were called.
So these people are based on a very, very real thing, but they make a good trope in fiction, and there's a lot of great fictional cads and players that we can mention. They even come up in comics too, so we can even bring it back to that. But before we get into that, we've got to bring up the featured comic. I featured a comic this week called Blank. Actually, it's called Bianc, but it's actually called Blank. They had to name it cleverly with a capital I because some comic had already been called Blank. So I hope you like listening to my review of Blank and maybe have a read of it after I've told you about it. Hello, I am Ozone Ocean, and my feature for the week was Blank. Blank is having a tough time, new to the school year, and already they've forgotten everything. Why they hate themselves, their gender, and even their own name. Luckily, the school loses their identity so they can give themselves a new one, which is Blank last name. A fine start. It can be rough being a teen in high school, and even rougher when your brain is betraying you. Dial the angst up to 11, slip into some emo gear, and get on board for the school year with Blank. This is a high school comedy drama, black and white with halftones drawn in a very individual, highly consistent style. Slightly mongerish, I would say, would be the influence because of, things like small mouths, no nose, large eyes, stylized hair, highly stylized hair. The whole comic is very, very highly stylized in general. It's pretty cool. This is a version of a weird version of a high school where people have identities assigned by them or, listed, and it's on their bodies in the form of a barcode, which is a cool little piece of dystopian symbology there, which I always love. So, yeah, have a bit of a read of Blank and see how you like it. This is a comic by Pixum, and it's rated M for mature. And that was the featured comic, which was Blank. Okay, Blank. It's a good little comic, which I hope you will have a look at and read. It's a bizarre little thing. Alright, so after that we have Gummolus's musical theme. This week Gummolus has given us the theme to a great little comic. It's called Joanna Ghost Hunter. Joanna Ghost Hunter. So, wandering creepy spirits wafting slowly here and there, defying all known laws of physics as they defy gravity, emit light without energy, and effortlessly pass through walls. This tune conveys all sorts of weird creepiness. All the world is grey in sleepless, perpetual twilight. So take it away, Gummolus, with the theme to Joanna Ghost Hunter. Tom Wallace's theme. 2.
Joanna
Ghost Hunter.
Okay. Joanna Goes Hunter.
Joanna Goes Under. Exactly. So, now we're going to chat about cads and players and fun boys, Lotharios, and all this kind of stuff. Interesting topic. I love it. So because what I really love about it is the fact that these characters are so represented in fiction as a trope, but they really do exist. This is a real thing, and they're everywhere. Mm-hmm. So they're very easy to talk about from a real perspective, as well as being, just in fiction. Yeah. So the player. What defines the player, or the cad, as I like to think about them? Cad used to be like a very much like a sort of a pejorative term, like an insult that people would level at a particular kind of man. Not only because he's like shallow sexual relationships with women, it's because he is dishonorable in his actions. You cad. Yeah. You bounder.
There's always a slap being delivered as someone's called a cad.
Yes, definitely. So,
in a comic. I saw it somewhere in a comic. It was probably the first time I saw the word. Ladies and a guy.
So yeah, the cad or the player, what defines them? I think they're usually men in their 30s to 40s. They could be older, could be younger, but that's usually their age range. People who develop a bit of suave and sophistication. They're usually well dressed and well turned out because they are predatory in their approaches to women, because they're usually after sex. Basically, very shallow. They're very shallow, quite narcissistic, and they're looking for a sexual relationship. And they tend to, rather than the fun boy who's just purely after sex, and is a bit clueless about it and is very hit and miss. The player or the cad tends to be after the hunt, so they're just not after the sex. They're not just after that. They enjoy the hunt, they enjoy the seduction, they enjoy going after someone and getting them. So they're not just in it just for sex. They're in it in order to win the sex, to win the woman.
I would say also that they enjoy the heartbreak they cause afterwards, like knowing that the woman is devastated. Is something that they like, at least in a good percentage of the profile.
I'd say that is like a spectrum of the cads. Mm-hmm. That's more towards the cad than the player. So if we were to think about these characters as being the bad, the more evil side and the less evil side, that's the more evil ones.
Definitely. I mean, that's really evil. Yeah, like obviously a kind of a separate category almost.
I think just the one edge of the one end of the spectrum, I would say, because
for a lot of them, it's like unfortunately they don't really care about the women's feelings at all, and they're just like, they were after the conquest. They had the conquest, and you're null to them now.
Yeah, right. They lose interest, and and then there is the I guess secondary level card. I don't know how you would call that, but someone that stays a little bit and stays until someone else comes along, and then they switch. In the sense that, that would be, I guess, the better version, which is not the good version, but in the sense that they stay with the conquest because that's how they look at the people that they win over. Like they stay with the conquest until someone else comes along, and then they have to get with them. So they cheat a lot, and then they switch, and then they rinse it, the whole thing. So.
Yeah,
Right.
yes, precisely. Yeah, so there are different degrees and levels to the Cads and the players. So yeah, the ones leapfrogging and to the next thing. And yeah, then we have polygamists. They're the ones who like have multiple families, but that's kind of weird. Weird
that
version.
I don't think is. I wouldn't say that is a card in the sense that if they are upfront about that, okay, I'm polygamous and I'm going to be dating several women at the same time openly. I mean, you know what you're getting into. I don't think that is a card.
I mean the ones that you charge with polygamy because they have secret families.
Like, okay.
Yeah, those ones.
Okay, yeah, that's a different thing.
Rather than the Amish or seven.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
Not Amish. No. Yeah. I don't think that's an Amish thing, is it? That's a.
I don't think
Utah.
so. No.
What are we thinking of? Latter-day Saints. Yeah, those ones.
Okay. Yeah.
Mormons. Traditional Mormons.
Yeah, I think so. I am not sure. So I don't know. But yeah, I think the whole issue with all of that is the secretive nature of the thing, in the sense that it would be fine. I mean, you take your responsibility and you make your choice. If someone is open about, yeah, I don't really look for anything stable. I look for something that will be fun until it's not fun, and then I'm going to look for something else that's fun. And if they are upfront about it, and then the person that gets on board is pissed, it's on that person because they know the deal already upfront. And why are you crying now? Like they want you.
Says Tad. Says Tance, who is also a player. So.
Exactly. I'm just upfront about it. Like I have a heart. So
yes, I could have $1 for every time a lady's said that to me. Stop crying. You knew the deal.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I'm like a gentleman. I'm going to assign you a day of the week. Just know about that.
Well, I mean, let's talk about the female version. So what we talked about before we did the Quackcast was the fact that, I mean, there is this idea that's, the men are, allowed to get away with this, but the women aren't. But I don't necessarily think that's the case, because players and Cads are seen as negatives. They're not seen as good. And the women, the female version, like the loose woman or the sluts, I'm not using that to describe them. It's out
how
there.
Society categorizes these people. I would say that the woman is worse off for the same behavior, because the guy that is the player is considered, one, either redeemable, or B, just hasn't found the woman that will miraculously convert him into a monogamous, like Prince Charming sort of guy. And so society expects that these people are redeemable, even if the behavior is condemned. The woman,
I think this is the, if I'm going off track to what you're saying, let me know and get back on track. But like, this is the type that's like the most popular kind of romance story hero, right? Like the guy who is the player.
Absolutely, and I hate it. Like, this is
former player,
the romance trope that I hate.
Yeah.
Out of all of them, like, this is the one that gets under my skin, because that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
However, the woman is considered spoiled, damaged goods. Like if a woman
I think
plays people,
that
it
that
is.
is an older trope though, because now we have cougars, and that's been acceptable for like 30 years or so. So
Yeah, but the cougar is.
that's basically a player, because she's not
Yeah,
out
not a,
for a
mm,
relationship. She's a predatory.
she's a sugar mama. The cougar is a different thing.
No,
There is no deception involved in this because the cougar is someone that goes with younger men, and
Yeah,
usually there is very little deception involved. It's just that she robs the cradle, basically. That's what she does.
I
That's
do
why she's
think
a cougar.
I don't think there's a bit of an equivalence though. At least there's an overlap, because we have players who do go for younger women, and
Yeah,
they're
there is
obvious
an
in their
overlap.
play.
I would say that they are completely different things because the player, i- someone can be like the player plays women of all ages in the sense that there could be a player that plays women his age or younger or older. That's a gigolo. But
that's right.
the
Yeah.
the the
Gigolo.
cougar is a cougar specifically because she dates younger men. It's not necessarily that she switches between younger men or that she does any kind of deception.
But she's predatory in her behavior, which is where the
She's
term comes
predatory
from.
because she preys on a younger person that
Yeah,
she
but
has no business
it's not just predatory
pulling into her
preying
bed.
on a younger person. It's just it. I mean, it's the fact that she is predatory. Like, she is
Yeah, but
sexually
the
aggressive.
reason she's predatory, the only reason that makes her predatory to earn that tag, the cougar one, I mean, is that the man is a lot younger. That's the
No,
only
no,
reason.
actually,
She
it's
could be dating a single guy, marry this single guy, and stay with this single guy, and she's still a cougar. That's what I'm saying.
I think that is one definition, but I think also the cougarishness also actually references a sexually aggressiveness, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why people will sort of single them out for that, because traditionally women aren't meant to be seen as sexually aggressive. They're not meant to be seen as actually going out and hunting.
I think there's a different term for that. Not that the cougar isn't. I think there's overlap, but again, like for example, a player isn't necessarily overtly at least aggressive. That's like I think it's a similar but completely different style and category. Like the name implies a different type of relationship. The woman player. Let's ask Google. I think there is another term for the woman player. Let's see. No, I don't want NBA women.
Well, yeah, it could be a homosexual thing as well. You have gay women and gay men.
Absolutely, yeah.
Definitely do fill the stereotype. Definitely, and especially older gay men who are players.
Yeah, the cougar is just a woman that seeks romantic or sexual relationships with significantly younger men. That's the defining element, the age difference.
Could you
And,
say?
and there is a male version of the cougar, and that is a manther.
That's ridiculous.
I would say it's
That's
just.
so dumb.
Yeah.
That's like people
Yeah,
calling
this is what Google is saying.
Mary
I never
Sue
heard
Mary
that before.
Stew. It's useless. It's silly. You just call a male cougar. That's
I think this
Yeah,
should
that's how I call them, a male cougar.
male cougar.
Mantha. Oh, yeah, panther man.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Just call it a panther. You don't call a female cougar A wakuga? A wooga?
A wooger. Let's call them a wooger.
A wooga! A wooga! What morons come up with these terms?
I don't know.
Jesus.
Not a lot of imagination, clearly. Anyway, however, the point is that it's a slightly different thing.
I'm going to put this in the
I
notes.
think that a woman, there's also a player. Like a woman, you can have a woman player
Yeah.
Sure.
nowadays.
I reckon you probably could.
Let me put this out there. Like, what do you think of the idea of a gold digger is the female version of the male cad or player in a way?
Well,
But she would be looking for marriage, though, or to get the guys.
Well, like, again, there'd be a spectrum. Like, it's possible for someone to be like, yeah, I'm looking for security, I'm looking for this and that, because on an instinctive level, that's what I want to pursue. But then once they're there, it can be okay. It can be good. Similar to a guy who's looking for, healthy or attractive or whatever. Yeah. And that can turn out well. But someone who's effectively, I want to marry and divorce and get the money, a sucker.
Now, that would be, a Black Widow kills them.
Yeah.
Well, we have the gold diggers, there's male versions of those too. And famously, the movie Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is about a couple of men who are Cads players, but they're also gold diggers. They're after money. So, yeah, definitely. Totally. They're just not after.
So you know what? How about we do a character design, like for someone to qualify, man or woman, they would need to be deceptive about their intentions. So they would need to be deceptive in that they are not about the fact that they are after sex and just sex, and they are definitely not going to be monogamous.
Shallow,
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and narcissistic, self-centered, egotistical, caring about themselves, basically.
Egotistical.
What else?
I've written geotistical. Ego.
Yeah. And
they care about their appearance. They're predatory in their interactions. People
very manipulative.
People would describe that as these days like grooming, but I think that's incorrect. I think that's that's a silly kind of like expanding it from pedophilia.
Grooming would be, if someone is underage and you are raising them to be.
Yeah, that's a different category.
Exactly.
So just manipulative. They would manipulate someone into being open to having sex with them one way or the other, whatever way that is. That does not involve exchange of money.
Well, that doesn't take much manipulation.
Yeah. So that I would say that is the definition for men and women. I just think that, well, you know what? Now that I think about it, they also must be secretive, because if word gets around that they are like this, then the ruse is off. I mean, which is something that happens in real life a lot. I remember, it's not that far off. When I was studying in the Cross, one of the first things I was told by all the Red Cross ladies was, be careful of this guy. And I was actually so like, be careful of him. He is just looking to get casual sex and will do anything to get it. Just be careful. So now this guy, from being a player, is an incel, I guess, because nobody will.
A failure,
Yeah,
player.
exactly, a failure now. So yeah, I mean, if a word gets around, you basically need to switch social groups because
Need to
there's
switch
no way
hunting
you are getting.
grounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh dear, yes, the prey has gotten wind of your scent, Mr. Player. You'll have to switch to another hunting ground.
But it's amazing. Like when they show you the ropes, one of the things that they tell you is like, this is a creep, this is a player, and this is an idiot that doesn't know what they're doing. So be be advised. Yeah.
Oh, there, it's definitely a fun little categorization of different
Mm,
people. Yeah, so we were
yeah.
talking about like what were we talking about before? The timeline with the fun boy might start off that way. Then you have the player and the cad, and then they sort of transition up into the Lothario, so they can go all the way if they remain on that kind of spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Would a fun boy turn into a player, or would they just grow out of being a fun boy and become
I
a
think
bit
it
more
depends
stable?
on what they're looking for with the sex, in the sense that some people are just exploring.
Mm.
They're
Yeah.
not really out there to manipulate others or anything. Others might take um,
Oh, pickup
having
artists. That's
sex,
another one.
yeah, having sex as validation, like I am being accepted and approved of if people will have sex with me. So that might perpetuate.
Yeah.
Um, and others just grow out of it in the sense that they find this validation elsewhere, so it stops, I guess.
Yeah. They're just really randy when they're young, and they
Mhm.
calm down a little bit, maybe. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So let's talk about famous cads in fiction. Well, we've got the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Steve Martin and Michael Caine playing those characters brilliantly. Um, Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother. He is a brilliant, brilliant cad player. It's not even brilliant. It's just ridiculous kind of level with that character. He is like just a cartoonishly evil version of player stereotype. Neil Patrick Harris, that's it. Famously played by a gay man. So, a person who just has a playbook where he has these pickup lines, ridiculous schemes in order to pick up women. He has all these methods and techniques, and he even takes it to extremes because he sets himself challenges in order to pick up women. So it's not just the challenge of picking up a woman, it's the challenge of, okay, I need to pick up a woman while wearing farmer's overalls and pretending I'm a farmer and see if I can do that. So yeah, this is, player infinity. He's like the highest level you can get because
Uh-huh.
it's so ridiculous. So that's
Yeah,
a fantastic one.
yeah. See, that guy is not really into it for the sex per se. They just seek to validate themselves for this because what they get out of this is I'm that good, like I'm awesome. Uh,
That's a
so
term
that's
he
what
uses a
they're.
lot, actually. Yeah,
Oh, really? Ah, there you go.
awesome.
So yeah, so if, for example, so that means that um, it's not the sex; it's that the sex symbolizes like the ultimate success in winning over a person, which is sad, really, in a way, because they don't feel that they have to keep proving to themselves that people will accept them, but because they pretend and because they are so manipulative and stuff, it never works because they feel that they have never shown their true self. It's like a facade, So it's the facade that wins the person over rather than themselves in reality. So, yeah, that never really works. They feel even worse because they compare themselves, whoever they consider to be their real self, their real personality, with the facade. The facade always wins. They feel worse. They feel terrible. They go and get another
A conquest.
plate.
Oh, wow. But they just are becoming more and more fraudulent, and they would just hate themselves more and more. Yeah.
It never works. It's something that is doomed from the start, and yeah, those are very sad existences, and should get therapy, and they almost never do.
So what do we think about James Bond kind of a Lothario? He is a classic player with all the different variations. I mean, I haven't read the books, but we have the movie versions played by Sean Connery, George Lazenby, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan. Oh, Roger Moore. I forgot Roger Moore. And who's the latest guy?
Neil Patrick Harris.
I can't remember whoever that is.
Daniel Stern or Craig. Yeah.
Daniel Stern. Oh dear, yeah, Daniel Craig. That's it.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's a player. I don't know why he would be a player, unless the only way that I could buy him being a player is that he flaunts being rich, and that often draws in people that are looking to get connected with rich people for security and other things. But beyond that, what the hell is so appealing? I don't know.
Well, look at my chest, my hairy chest.
It's too hairy, you need chest.
Well, I think he is very much a classic, like more realistic player in some ways, in that he's looking for an easy time. He's looking for like just a conquest. He sees a beautiful woman and he thinks, I want to have her, and he does. He wins her over, and then that's the end of it. It's shallow, except for the George Lazenby film,
absolutely, yeah.
which I've never seen.
In terms of the behavioral pattern, totally. What I don't get is how he does it, because at least in the movies, it is shown that he does it super quickly. So unless he gets them really drunk, I don't know.
It's not so far out of reality in the way that they show him doing that. It can be quite quick because he's just charming them, basically. He's giving them the signals, the body language, and the right kind of... And obviously, if they're so easily charmed, they're obviously... I think the inference is that they are looking for that kind of thing anyway.
Okay.
So they're
that I could say
receptive.
that they are... Yeah, that they are already primed for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Precisely.
Okay, yeah. Beyond that, I don't know if a spy should be that kind of a play.
For a spy, you'd think that would be quite a problem, because if you're developing meaning, like not even shallow connections, but if you're developing connections with people, that's dangerous, unless they're a target.
And people will remember you. Like, people will remember your face. Do you really want that?
Yeah, unless it's a honeypot kind of thing, and you're actually developing a connection in order to manipulate someone, then...
Which they do, man. I heard an interview with a spy recently, or I watched something. I'll try to find it. I don't remember where I heard it, but he was saying, like, yeah, we won't talk too much about it, but there is flirtation and seduction involved in our work sometimes to get access to information we need or whatever. I mean, I don't know the Bond movies really at all, but he seems like he's doing it because he wants to.
Yeah, it seems to be, it sort of goes above and beyond. I think that's the problem with the relationships in James Bond. He goes more than he has to, really. And it's unnecessary.
Yeah. Like, actually, in a way, it might not be necessary as opposed to, as opposed to flirting or suggesting a relationship is developing with someone. but you're just trying to get access to, the files or whatever.
Yeah. No, that I can see happening. I can totally see happening, or at least not even to get the access to a place. Like, let's go to your place, and
Yeah.
then you're in
Yeah.
more ways than one. But yeah, So yeah, I suppose Bond is a typical player, because I think that beyond a couple of women that were targets like that, I think that he has a problem he needs to work on.
Oh dear.
My favorite icon is probably Ralph Furley. Any chance we know who that is?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'll send you a picture. Maybe he could be part of the thumbnail or the screenshot for this. Mr. Furley from Three's Company.
Three's
No?
Company. Okay,
Oh,
this is
No.
a bit of a retro American comedy, isn't it?
It is,
I
yes.
know what you mean.
Okay,
It's
we
not,
can stop for now. We're running out of time.
well,
It should have been humorous.
actually,
Reference.
we did waste a bit of time in between our interstitial
Yeah.
stuff. So
We could pause and continue.
I will do that. So I know who you mean now, Baines. This is God, I can't remember the actor, but he was in doing that that one with the glow in the dark penises, wasn't he? The glow in the dark condoms. Was that actor?
Yeah, this is not him. That's not his character. This is the older landlord character is Mr. Furley, played by Don Knotts.
Oh, okay.
Fancied himself a player. Like Tan said, like the wannabe player guy. But his
really funny
outfits alone are worth having a look
at. I don't know the American Three's Company very well, but I knew the comedy that was based on, which was Man About the House, a British comedy.
Man About the House. Yeah,
They had an equivalent of that. See, they had an older couple living above the this threesome, and the woman was very much, she fancies the younger guys sort of thing, and the male part of that relationship also fancied the younger girls as well. But they both fancied themselves being very attractive, which they were not.
I guess Jack Tripper, the star of Three's Company, was also, he had those goals in mind. He was a player, and he and his buddy were always after getting a date or getting some action from a lady.
And funnily enough, they didn't really get that from the women they lived with. Well, he lived with.
Not at all. Well, it was very, very platonic with the roommates. Yeah.
Which is where the tension in the comedy comes from.
Yeah, would have been a different show otherwise.
Well, that is an interesting aspect, though. The player can often have a female friend who they don't see in that way, who they don't play with, so to speak. So the player isn't always seeing all women as prey. They're seeing certain women as prey.
What was it was a Michael Caine movie that I didn't see, but I saw the remake, Alfie, with Jude Law.
Yeah, that's.
And he had a female friend who was actually married. His best friends, they were married, and he ends up,
Dudley Moore
sleeping
film.
with her. Oh, was it a Dudley Moore movie? Oh, well, I gotta look that up then. That'd be great. Love Dudley Moore.
Yeah, it's a really good film.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Dudley Moore.
I don't know. I thought it was a Michael Caine, but
you might be right. I might be thinking of another film that was remade. Yeah, I think you're right. Alfie was the Michael Caine one. Duh. I was thinking
you're thinking of Arthur.
Arthur, yes.
Arthur, different.
You're correct, my friend. Yeah, Alfie, which the original version is a lot more predatory. Is not nice.
Yeah,
at
different
all.
time, different norms culturally.
Very much so. Yeah, there are a number of great fictional versions, and one of my favorites is Christopher Walken's character, the Continental, from various Saturday Night Live skits, and he reprised this quite a few times over the years, and he is just a perfect stereotypical cad player sort of character, but he fails in his playing, which is why it's so funny, because it's a failed play, and the cad who gets his comeuppance is such a there's something, I don't know, like joyful about that, watching a player fail.
Cathartic, I would say.
Yeah, that's the word I was trying to think of. Thank you.
So emotionally satisfying. Yeah, because basically a cad that is successful is someone that causes trauma. So someone, it's the same okay, in a hyperbole maybe, but maybe debatable. If you have a serial killer that always fails to kill the target, that is super fun.
True.
Because he fails all the time. Like, he's a wannabe serial killer. If he succeeds, it's not funny anymore.
Yes, not at all. Yeah. So, I mean, the cad who never wins would be not really a cad, because they're not able to be one. But when they do win enough to be a cad, and then they fail spectacularly, or get in trouble, or get their comeuppance, then it can be joyful. Sometimes it can be taken a bit too far, like a revenge, and you think, well, this isn't really fun. This is just mean and savage, and the punishment doesn't fit the crime. I think that happens quite often in a lot of ways. The revenge against the cad is like hyperbolically ridiculous. It's like being chased with a gun, or being, tossed off a balcony or something,
or having the strategic tool cut off.
Yes,
which has happened in real life.
That can sort of take it in a different direction, and then you feel sorry for the cad. You think, oh God, actually, I feel for him.
I can't really say that I feel sorry for them. I just cringe, because it's extra trauma for the victims, honestly. But imagine women, not only women, like anyone that has been driven to take revenge to that scale. I'm not saying it's right. Please don't cut off people's parts.
No.
But to get to that scale, like, nobody, unless we are talking about people that are already disturbed, but assuming that you have an otherwise typical person that is pushed to that extent, then that shows the magnitude of the damage done, and why they would externalize it that way. Again, it's not correct, and they need to be stopped and treated and punished and stuff like that. But it is an indicator. Like, people that gang up on a cad like this have a reason to do it, even though the reason is not enough. It's not correct, is what I'm saying. But you can see why it happens.
I think there are other aspects to it too.
I can see why. That's what I'm saying.
Like cultural aspects that give a lot of weight to this kind of betrayal, or something that involves sexuality means things are seen in a greater light. Like, it's more forgivable to, but to exact extreme revenge when something involves sex or relationships.
Yeah. Like, for example, let me give you an example that comes from tradition, in a sense. There was this one cad. I don't remember his name. Like, he lived somewhere like the 1700s, around there in Greece, and he had a thing. He liked spoiling women, in the sense that he only targeted virgin ladies, and then he dumped them. So these women could not marry. because they were not virgins anymore. And he made sure that society knew that they were not a virgin.
So he's an evil character.
Yeah, he was. That's why he has been immortalized, like the story is being told. But the thing is that this guy turned up murdered in a ditch, and nobody knows who did it, but everyone knows that all the families of these women ganged up on him and killed him. So, was it right to murder him? No. Did he ruin, like he basically killed these women, societally speaking, and at that time they were not able to work anywhere. Like a woman that was not married had basically no options for survival.
Wow.
So, was he a murderer? Even though he didn't kill the ladies?
Well, I suppose in that example, this fellow is not like, I don't think it's murder is the thing, but he's actually causing harm not just to the ladies but to his society in general and to families of people, because marriage was a huge thing. Marriage for alliances and for distribution of wealth and all this kind of stuff, and he's destroying all that. So he's causing vast amount of chaos to everybody in his world. So yeah, that's ridiculous.
So does the punishment fit the crime? No, because taking life is never it's a bigger punishment than any kind of crime. Society should have stopped feeling that virginity is important for marriage, and that would fix a lot of things. But in any case, what I'm saying is that for these people that felt that their lives were ruined, that they were as good as dead, going after this guy and killing him was not like a far leap. Like it was quote unquote expected to happen at some point. So that's what I'm saying, is that when you cause like such a tremendous level of hurt, you must expect that at some point someone is going to come and deal punishment that is a lot bigger in magnitude than you would expect, or than what a court would dish out, if anything. So
yeah, well,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, this is like an extreme example. So,
yeah,
but, yeah,
it was a real one though. It happened in real life. Extreme, but that's what I'm saying, is that these people hurt a lot of other people. So they also put themselves on the line at some point. Someone's going to be the one with the switch that the one with the switch that is thrown, and things happen. Anyway, so yeah, that was a big parenthesis and an example in like explaining the reactions of these people that get hurt and how they might react. Most people will not react like this, which is good.
Like it's like, I know, if we're taking it away from the extremes, it's a the revenge against the cat is a staple of a certain kind of comedy. Not necessarily, sometimes sex comedies.
Yeah.
But
or he could be
adult comedies.
ridiculed.
What's that?
Like one of the tropes I like that is not murderous is that when all the conquests meet with each other, they become friends, and they stage this socially like a belittling situation for the cad, and he basically has to extract himself from that society at least.
Yeah, he gets humiliated.
It is irredeemably bad. So.
What about say the stupid harem animes where we have like almost an exact opposite of the player in a way, because the character is totally passive and yet all these women are throwing themselves at him. But he
There is
becomes
no
like
deception then.
there is deception because he's not letting the other women know that he likes them.
Oh, he doesn't. I thought
Yeah.
they all knew.
No, it's all kind of, they all think they're the one. Go on, Baines?
Deceptive to the young male audience because life is never.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think that is a male fantasy.
of course it is. But the tension in these things, these harem animes, is that every woman thinks she's the one. Every woman thinks she's the special girl and will end up with a character. But he's too passive and too cowardly to commit to any one of them. So it's like the anti-Cad. But he's still a Cad. Still a player. He's not an active player.
He just masks the cadness, if you like. The fella. Oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, he's faking.
And he collects
I don't know.
all these women. Yeah. And that can be quite a I think, like on one aspect it's a male fantasy because you have these women throwing themselves throwing themselves to you.
Throwing themselves against you.
Yeah, I couldn't get the words out probably.
Doesn't sound that very nice.
Just tossing like waves, like ocean waves.
But, yeah.
So there's that fantasy aspect, but it's actually quite negative in that you're thinking about, oh, hang on, he's being passive. And he's like leading them on, and he's not committing to any one of these women, and it's very unfair to the other women. So it actually feels quite negative, at least from my point of view, when I see these.
It is.
It seems dishonorable.
100% a Cad. It's just a type of Cad.
The passive
like
Cad.
What they, it's an MO.
Yeah.
Let's say. Yeah, totally. Oh, sorry. Do you hear that exhaust again?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the father of these Cads, I think, would be was it Tenchi Mayu from the Tenchi series? I think that's the most famous version of the harem anime. And there's female versions as well as this, especially these days. There's the female harems, so it's not just a male thing. But I think doesn't M. Claire do a comic that's basically with that kind of thing, like the female.
Oh, you mean Menagerie?
Yes, I think.
I don't know. She would have to tell us.
Yeah. That's in the mode that a lot of the female versions of these harem animes kind of go in, or harem mangas or whatever. The passive Cad, interesting. Oh, we've talked about all these kind of different versions of the Cad. I like it. The pass Cad.
Cadcast.
Yeah.
Cadcast. The CC.
The passive Cad, harem.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
The old Cad, the Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh,
and the other thing is, Leisure Larry, new.
He's like Mr. Curly kind of character, I think.
When you get to the letters level, I think that the game is up. Everyone knows what you're after, and they're slightly put off, slightly disgusted. Like, you are the sleaze card at this point.
Right. Yeah, that could be a comedic kind of character. Yeah. It could be just kind of like gross or something. Yeah.
You know what? I remember now. This is, I think, a trope in anime. Like, you have this old guy that also is super. Like, he always has a boner.
Yeah.
But that is not the old guy's main thing. Like, usually they are like a mentor or a teacher or someone with status. But their comedic thing, when they get into chibi mode, is that they get nosebleeds and they are like super horny all the time.
Yes, Mr. Roshi from Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball, That's a classic one, Mr. Roshi.
Yeah. And in the Kenshin anime, there is one as well. In the anime, I think, don't think that he exists, or at least that way, in the manga, but maybe he does. I don't remember very well because I don't really like these characters, and they just get erased from my head.
I find them hilarious. The dirty old man character. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
They
like
might have
making passes that never are successful.
never.
So,
They might have been a cad in their younger days, but they can't do it now. They've lost it.
yeah.
The retired cad.
the forcefully retired card, like they just
Yeah.
don't pass anymore.
Yeah.
Forced retirement.
They're back to just dirty
Thad.
children. A Thad. Thad. Thaddeus the Cad. I like it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Don't be cats, people, please.
No.
It's not a good trope.
Don't be a
To do
player.
it.
Player. It's funny, like in rap, player, that's sort of like used as a term of I don't know, respect maybe? Player? Because a lot of that culture that is sort of mythologized in a lot of rap is like a stylized.
I don't know. I mean,
it's kind of sexual. Like there's a sexual economy to that kind of the world that's depicted. You know, there's the pimps and the players, and you know, the wet ass pussy. You know, these women who sort of celebrate aggressive sexuality. So it's there's a real mythology to that.
I don't know. I don't feel qualified. I mean, I'm not into rap at all, so I don't really know the culture, and I somehow feel a little too, maybe a little too white to comment on that. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, so I don't know, guys. Cannot comment.
I only know Vanilla Ice is the only rapper I know.
But yeah, you know, that whole Snoop Dogg thing. Player.
Straight out of Connecticut. I know that group.
Yeah. But
we do have
was their big hit.
we do have some Greek trappers that do a lot the whole thing that I collect women as items.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go. That is it.
Yeah, that's pretty disgusting though, and I don't know if that is a card in the sense that they are open, that they collect people as items. But that is still a sleazeball. So don't do that either.
I think
in what way do you mean that? Sorry, in what way do you mean that they collect them as items?
That's what they say in the quote-unquote lyrics in trap. I don't really have any respect for trap.
I think it is because these are cads who are bragging about it. They don't necessarily brag about that to the women. They use their seduction techniques.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Oh, just as like a not like a body count kind of thing you're talking about. Like notches. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's all about bragging rights. Got this woman, I got this, you know, whatever. So
yeah, and I got all the cash, and then all the women are basically treated as as objects and vessels and really disgusting things. And I don't really like it. Like, I'm sure that there are examples of trap music that I would like. I just haven't heard any, and I'm not into researching it because I would have to wade through all that junk, and I really don't like it. So.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of rap that has nothing to do with that kind of thing.
Yeah, rap is like I'm talking about trap specifically. This subgenre.
Right. No one.
Rap.
No worries, yeah. But the pickup artist character as well. So pickup, just not character, but that whole culture. There's a whole culture, and that is quite vile because that really turns into a science.
Pickup artists like also have this overlap, if not complete overlap, with the alpha male theories. Like, I'm going to teach you how to be alpha, how to
Ugh,
to
it's cringy,
charm.
isn't it?
I don't know, charm women, but win women over and stuff like that. And it's so cringy. But it's great when you are slightly drunk and with friends. Like, it gets a lot of laughter
Yeah,
when you see
I
those
mean, it
kind of
can be
memes.
funny until you realize that they're serious and they believe
Yeah,
it.
if you know what, even if they're serious, if you are very removed, like you're seeing it in a YouTube video, it's still funny.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, if there is no safety glass, then it's not funny anymore.
I think the best thing about that whole pickup artist culture is though it's like it's some very few kind of people who are successful at it who actually do that, and the rest are like conned into thinking they can do it. So it's
Mm,
like it's like alternative health stuff and all this. It's
yeah.
it's basically they're selling a dream to people, and they're just making money and
Mhm.
exploiting these people who have these lecherous kind of goals. So it's
Yeah. You know what? I'm not really sorry for them, because if they have these goals, they should be, strung along by con artists that
yeah,
fleece
exactly.
them over this. Like, so that's on you guys, and I'm glad that you have no money anymore. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't buy into this whole pickup artist stuff, or
Yeah.
being a player isn't really a good thing.
Talk to people like a normal person. At some point, you will find someone that is
Hmm.
into you. Like, there is 100% chance that if you are interested in finding someone, you will find a lot, not just one.
And
Uh,
try not to be superficial and shallow in
yeah,
your communication with people. Try and go for a
yeah.
bit more, because it's hollow if you're going after that kind of thing in other people. If you're just going, for sex or status or whatever,
Hmm. Exactly.
make
And
friends with people.
yeah, and get to know other people, and don't be afraid to show yourself, because even if you don't make the cut, it happens to all of us.
Hmm.
You will learn about yourself, and you will improve, and you will make the cut next time. That's how life is. So,
Well, part of the issue is because a certain part of society, puts a lot of value on sex. And this is
mm,
huge in pop culture and media, and we think, oh, we have to have
not
it all
only
the
on
time.
sex, but in also like owning a person.
Mm.
Think of the language. Like, this is my guy or my girl, and uh, forever together. And I don't really remember. Like, there are certain terms of phrases that are completely possessive if you think about it,
Oh,
and
of course.
you are taught. Hmm?
But I'm thinking of not just that, but the achievement of sex. Like the whole
Yeah.
whole rapper thing, like like you were talking about, like the women as possessions. Like I have or achievements. I got this
Mhm.
one. I got this one. I got this one, and that's seen as a good thing. Like they imagine they're being studs when they do it, and
Yeah.
really
Well,
that's ephemeral. That's freaking meaningless. It doesn't
exactly. But and it is very
improve you.
cultivated. Remember that movie, Never Been Kissed, and it was about Drew Barrymore being 30, I think, or over
Mm.
20. I don't remember the age. And she had never been kissed, and she was a virgin. And oh my God, she's dying of unsex disease or something like that. Yeah, but okay, I'm trying not to laugh, but the thing is that what did this teach? And it's not the movie. The movie picks up on something that exists in society. It's that if you don't copulate, you are damaged goods for society for some reason. Like, Oh my God, he's still a virgin at X age.
40-year-old virgin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what? It is a choice, and it can happen, and you have a full life, and you are happy with yourself by being a 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really quite irrelevant in the end. I mean,
it is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. But people are like, it has been drummed into people that they have to have sex, they have to get married, they have to have kids, they have to be, you know, to show success. Otherwise, they are not successful. Then it's an enormous, tremendous, unfair pressure on everyone, and that's why you get all these aberrations of people. So,
aberrations. Yeah, that's a good kind of description because being a player and a cat is quite aberrant, really.
hmm
I mean, it plays into human impulses and instincts and what we already want, but that it takes that shape,
hmm
is cultural. Like you have to do this, or like your body count matters, or like how old were you when you lost your, whatever. It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
like that's all cultural stuff, right?
Like it's, and that's another thing. Like there are so many elements to this, like that teach people wrong things about who they are as human beings. Like all these very memed things, like that's not how girls work in Reddit, or that's not how women work. And you hear these weird theories about sex, about men roles, women roles, what it is to be married, what it is to not be married, what happens, for example, what happens to the male or the female genitalia if they do no sex or if they do a lot of sex, what have you. And all of that is, first of all, ignorance, which is a terrible thing at this day and age, to not know your own body. And the other thing is that it is like a symbolic representation of cultural norms, because this grows out of cultural norms, because again, it is the myth of what things are.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
there's so many myths surrounding
It's sad. It's really sad,
sexuality
though.
and
Yeah.
relationships. Wow. But given that the sadness, the cat will
hmm
also always be a staple of comedy in various
Yeah.
ways. So,
Yeah. A sad comedy,
a
not a
sad,
comedy.
sad comedy, but we do celebrate that the
Mhm.
silliness of the cat.
It is comedic because it is sad and a problem. Comedy comes from pain and problems and sad things.
His tats
Yeah.
bring it down.
Yeah. But no, really, I mean, the best comedy comes from satirizing something that comes from strife and from controversy and from things that are painful. Even slapstick is that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
The
Barney
longing,
Stinson.
or the longing and not achieving.
yeah.
There was a deleted episode of Pepe Le Pew where he was just crying at home.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
Pepe
Pepe,
Le Pew.
my God, Pepe Le Pew is the ultimate card.
Yeah, maybe
I'm not
he
sure.
doesn't get
But
for
he
us to
never
find
gets.
out.
He is directly after this particular character, but he's not after anyone else. So he's smitten by her. I don't know
Because
if
it's
he's
just a female.
predatory.
Because there are episodes where he is tricked into believing someone is female and goes after them. So it's
Oh,
the
really?
female element. It's not the person.
Yeah, all it takes is this poor old cat with a paint on her back,
Paint, yeah.
Oh my God!
and he can't
What
handle it when she chases after him.
Yeah, when
No.
something happens and she chases him, he's terrified. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a whole thing going on there. Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah. And it's funny in the way Pepe Le Pew's seen, like now, like back in the day, it was like charming and funny. But now he's seen as like, oh my god, dangerously predatory. But I don't know if that's really
Yeah, it was
fits.
yeah. You're
He's-
reminding me that it was banned a couple
Mm.
years ago or something, or censored or something.
He seems to be pathetic,
Yeah.
and it shows him being pathetic. It doesn't show his
Yeah.
actions
I
being
never
heroic.
No,
Right.
he's never shown in a good light. He's always in either he's ridiculous or pathetic or bordering on negative in general. I mean, even as a kid.
Mm. He's seen as like inherently repellent because he is a skunk.
Yeah.
For goodness sake.
Exactly.
It's not positive, so I don't know why there was such a reaction. I think people were just taking it completely literally, like, oh,
It's
a
because
cartoon.
he doesn't respect consent. That's why. But
Yeah.
that's the whole point. It's that
Yeah.
he doesn't respect consent and gets comeuppance.
Yeah, exactly.
because
I
of
think they're just taking it just completely at face value without the context of the meaning, which happens all too often.
Which I think like was also like a good, not a good example. What I mean is that he taught kids that this is sleazy behavior, in the sense that if the lady doesn't want you and you become Pepe Le Pew, you're going to get yours.
Yeah, it never came across as like this is a way to behave, like emulate this skunk.
No, never.
Oh,
Never.
yeah,
He's even called Le Pew. Like,
yeah.
the stink. Pepe
Yeah.
the fart. Great.
He's apparently based on a real person, obviously highly exaggerated and everything like that. But apparently there was
There you go.
someone whoever came up with him. Is that a Tex Avery? I don't know who created the character, but yeah, they knew someone who was kind of like that, sort of a ladies' man or wannabe
A cad.
or a cad.
An odious fellow.
Yeah, somebody who came on too strong, or cad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if that's
Got
true, but I read.
comedic comeuppance because of that.
Yeah.
Or at least in the form of the cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah, Pepe Le Pew. I've got to add him to my massive list of things.
Cad. The cad list.
The cad list.
Exactly.
Catalyst.
Catalyst.
Oh, nice.
You take it too far, Baines. You go too far, sir. I'll have to have a duel with you at dawn. Oh, there's this excellent thing. I think I might have shared it with you. It's like the duel at Blood Creek. It's a short film about all these men having duels at Blood Creek because the initial duel is about is two men wanting to fight because this guy slept with this other guy's woman and blah blah blah. So they're all having. Some are having duels about caddishness, and others are having duels about because you insulted my reputation, and it's just beautiful. They all want to duel in the same place, and they can't all duel in the same place. Only one group can duel, so they're having a fight about who has the right to have a duel.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
Imagine having to duel for having a duel.
Yeah.
That's double dueling.
Double dueling. A duel over a duel. Over a duel over
Imagine
a duel.
losing the duel for having a duel, and then you are dead and you cannot have the duel.
You can't even have your duel. That's true.
Insult to injury. All right. Well, let's end up this Cadcast.
Yes.
And
Don't be cads, people.
yes, don't be cads, and we'll take this somewhere more private now. Slip into something more comfortable and continue this conversation over a glass of wine. What do you say?
Yes.
Don't you look beautiful tonight? The moon in your eyes.
Oh my God, yes. It's like I can get lost in your see the ocean of your eyes.
This romantic scene. With
Oh, my knees are weakening a little bit after the
Yeah.
You're ravishing,
Or
my dear.
something super corny, like was the corniest Greek pickup line is your father a confectionery uh, owner because you are very sweet.
Oh dear.
Aw, that's kind of nice, isn't it?
It's
Sort
better
of.
than some of them. You did
It's
it
a
hurt.
long way to go for not much, but
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't hurt, as you said, but it's like very corny and it's sort of
yeah,
comes across a bit as desperate.
All pickup
good
lines
point.
too.
Good point. I mean, it leads to like you're very sweet, but it says there's like too much that goes into the setup. Just like,
Pickup
does
lines.
your father own a confectionery of some kind?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he like a baker or something like that? It
yeah,
translates better in Greek because we have a specific term for a baker that
okay,
creates like these very
yeah,
ornate sweets. And
Confections, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, confection was probably the best translation, I'm guessing. Yeah,
mm,
more elaborate.
mm,
So in English,
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
few there's a famous one. Someone will come up to someone and say, did it hurt? And the woman says, "What? What hurt?" And he says, "When you fell from heaven." Like an angel.
Oh my god. Okay, that does.
Yeah,
I would say that. Okay, that does hurt. Thank you for the experience, please.
And
Go.
there's a classic one that became song lyrics. If I said you had a beautiful body, would you hold it against me?
It depends on
yeah.
how you said it.
So that's a
You would
double
have to
entendre.
move a little bit to do that, I think. Maybe not. If you're very attractive, which I would have to just imagine. Maybe
What happened to just being sincere? Like, I saw you, I really like you, I would like to get to know you. Say that.
anxiety stops people from doing that. I'm just speaking from what I know or whatever, but I've found that is the best approach. It's kind of was shocking to me to figure that out. But yeah, like just being like, I'd like to
Yeah,
get together. Like I want to get together with you or whatever. Like
yeah.
or can
Being direct, yes.
can I call you? This is after maybe a conversation.
Thank you, thank you. Be a normal human being.
Yeah, it's fear. It's fear that stops people. I guess. Like
And
yeah,
again, it's that thing. Oh my God! If I fail, what will happen? And
yeah. You're
Failure. But
scary for some reason, but
that
yeah.
said, the players will use all techniques, so they're going to be honest and direct. Seemingly, they'll use that approach.
Yeah.
You'll have the ones that
yeah.
use the pickup lines. So I think the thing that defines them being a player is because they lack the sincerity, and once they've got what they want, they're not going to stick around. But they're still going to say, "Yeah, sorry from across the room. Yeah, yeah, let's dance. You like the same music I do, all that kind of stuff." So they'll do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot hinges on, first of all, the ladies' experience, in the sense, not the experience in sex, because that I think is irrelevant, but the ladies' experience in human interaction.
Yeah.
Like you can tell if you have enough experience or you know what to look for. You can tell who is being, like whose mind is working in the back chamber as well. Is if you know what I mean.
Who's being predatory?
Yeah, you can tell there is a vibe.
Although,
and I teach that. Yeah. That's another thing I teach.
Although I've seen extremely experienced women fall for players, just
everyone
as
can fall.
Everyone,
because you know what? Everyone has chords, and if the player can touch those chords, you might be like the most experienced, best in telling, like a profiler, I don't know, whatever, pick, a behaviorist or whatever, and you will still get played. There is
Sure.
always someone better than you. It's just that
Mhm.
what are the chances?
Yeah,
They
you
will
sort
need
of give yourself at least some protection from.
exactly.
Yeah.
And also, usually for that level of a hit, I would say, is that the player has to have studied you, so they have to be a bit of a stalker as well and know
It's not.
the things that
It's not
you like.
always that as well. There's also circumstances. Like
Yes, that also
when
can be
someone's
a
a bit
thing.
unprepared for it and they don't
Mhm.
expect it, or they're drunk.
Or when they are vulnerable, like
Mm.
something has happened, you are in a emotionally vulnerable position, and
It could be
it
that.
happens.
It could be
Hmm.
someone having so much fun that they really throw
Hmm.
caution to the winds, and they're feeling a little bit
Absolutely, yeah.
looser than normal. Yeah. So
Hmm.
then the player will strike.
Yeah, anything can happen. What I'm saying is that you are playing the odds just with everything in life.
Yeah.
It's good to know certain tells, and then you know you take your plans, and that's it.
All right, let's wrap up this now. Thank
Yes.
you for
All right.
listening to the Cadcast. This has been Ozone Ocean, Tance and Baines on the Quackcast.
Yes. Bye bye. Till next time.
Bye.